Our next speaker is Sarah Alexander. So she is passionate about supporting business professionals in undergoing spiritual transformation while still achieving results in their career. She's been a coach, a trainer, a speaker, and a meditation facilitator, and a Course in Miracles student for 15 years. She did a workshop with us about 4 years ago for the Spiritual Intelligence books, and I remember being a volunteer on that workshop, and I just remember how being opened up to this idea that you can achieve results in business while still being connected to yourself spiritually. And I remember her being really down to earth and open-hearted. So I'm not surprised that she's moved into this work with the meditations in A Course in Miracles. So please do welcome Sarah Alexander.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much to the Alternatives team for making me feel so welcome here, and thank you all for coming. Thank you, Venetia, for that introduction. I was introduced to everyone by a CEO of an organisation a while back, and he said, "This is Sarah Alexander, the famous actress." So I was like, well, I know Sarah Alexander is famous for being married to Chris Hollins, but what else is she famous for? And he said, nudity. So I hate to disappoint you, I'm not Sarah Alexander, the famous actress. And there won't be any nudity tonight, because we've got something far more important to talk about, which are the meditations from A Course in Miracles. Do we have some Course in Miracles students here tonight? Yeah, oh good, 4, okay. So bear with me, I just want to, you 4 that know about A Course, I just want to explain what it is. So A Course in Miracles is a psychological training program that is based on universal spiritual principles. It is a channeled spiritual teaching, and it is the channeled teachings of Jesus. When you read the Course, he talks about his life, the crucifixion, the resurrection. But I think even more importantly, when you work with the Course, you really have a sense of Jesus talking to you. It feels like Jesus, the historical Jesus. And the work, the whole body of work that is actually a 3-volume book, was actually channeled through a scribe called Dr. Helen Schucman. She was a research psychologist in New York, who actually described herself as a militant atheist. And she was actually quite embarrassed about the information that was coming through. Because A Course in Miracles gives us a new lens through which to see the world. It is showing us what true perception can be like, rather than the perceptions of our ego. And it really teaches us that both myself and each and every one of you here, absolutely everybody, is as God created us, that is pure, holy, limitless, perfect, magnificent, and that anything else is just the thinking of our ego. And for me personally, I have found this message so invaluable. Because I don't know if you're like me, but I grew up with a whole host of negative beliefs and negative self-concepts that I was holding about myself. I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not wanted, I'm not lovable, etc., etc. And the Course says, absolutely equivocally, no, your true self is perfect, whole, and complete. Full stop. And I think the Course is about relationships, and for me, it has been hugely beneficial how it has really helped me with relationships. It's enabled me to come into a far better relationship with myself, to accept my good qualities, my bad qualities, my faults, my foibles. It's really helped me come into a completely different relationship with God, the divine. And instead of thinking of God as perhaps someone that I couldn't trust because he let me down when I needed him most, or someone that was punishing me or demanded sacrifice of me, I've come to learn through the course that actually God is just continually loving me. If I want to make my life difficult, that's up to me. But God is there always seeing me as my true self. And I think perhaps one of the really valuable lessons as we go through any kind of challenging time is the lesson I am not the victim of the world I see. And if you're anything like me, it's very easy to feel good when life is good, but actually feel not good when life is not going as we want it to. And I find when I'm going through any kind of challenge, just this message of I'm not the victim of the world I see. I'm not the victim of these thoughts that are going on in my head. I'm not the victim of these emotions that I'm feeling that are making me feel so powerless. You know, I'm not that victim. My true self is powerful. And I find that has really helped me kind of just gain an emotional stability. So yes, you know, I have days when are good and days occasionally that aren't good, but there's an overall stability to my emotions. And I'm far more detached from all those things that happen out in life, including what's going on at the moment in our beautiful country. So I just want to talk about three really key things from A Course in Miracles. Firstly, what are the meditations in A Course in Miracles? Because the word meditation actually does not appear once. Why is it so important in the Course? And thirdly, how do we do it? So let's start with what are the meditations in the Course. If you think meditation is this universal, time-honored spiritual practice, there is a massive amount of research now that proves the effectiveness of meditation. And I think we've all come to know it as a family of practices that train our attention and train our awareness. And in actual fact, the Course takes it a step further than that. Because in A Course in Miracles, it is about one thing. And that one thing is experiencing God. And it gives us three practices that can help us experience God. And I would just like to mention my teacher, Robert Perry, who runs the Circle of Atonement, who really has given me a lot of the wisdom that I'm talking about tonight, particularly with regards to the meditations and A Course in Miracles in general. And so the first type of meditation Robert calls down and inwards, because what the Course teaches us to do is to travel down from our conscious mind and go down and in into the depths of our mind, almost like a diver might descend in the sea, and find that place of stillness, that place of peace, that place of pure love where our true self resides. And there's a really beautiful quote from the Course that says, deep within you is a place where everything is perfect, waiting to radiate through you and out into the world. So just imagine that deep within you is that place that is perfect. And that's deep within your mind, where you are your true self and connected to God. And there's a beautiful lesson that goes with this meditation, which is God goes with me wherever I go. And those words help you descend downwards and inwards. Second type of meditation is what's called the name of God meditation, where we're actually calling God's name or a word that refers to God. It might be love or peace or beloved or Father. And rather than just reciting it like a mantra, like so many traditions would have us do, we are actually using that word to call God to us, to actually enter into relationship with God, enter into communion with God, in the absolute knowledge that He will come. And the third type of meditation, which I have to be honest, I find by far the most challenging, is called open mind meditation, where you empty your mind of all of your thoughts and all of your beliefs and all of your attitudes and that chatter, and you just sit there in that openness, waiting for God to come, to dawn on your mind. And my experience of doing this meditation is just really of an overwhelming sense of peace. I can't say to you, yes, God has definitely dawned on my mind, but I definitely have a very strong sense of peace when I do it. And I consider that to be an experience of God. So, why is meditation so important in A Course in Miracles? You know, it's a fundamental capacity meditation for advanced spiritual work. But the Course actually takes it a step further, because it reminds us that we take on, or our mind takes on, the properties of whatever we attend to, both good and bad. And so the Course teaches us that meditation is really important because we have got to absolutely attend to the right things. We have to train our minds. We have to be able to keep our minds not from worrying about all over the place like we've got attention deficit disorder, but in a really controlled place, attending to what's important. And what is so beautiful is that there is this key essence, this key meaning of the Course meditations. You're not just focusing on your breath and keeping your attention there. You're not just reciting a mantra with no meaning. You are actually meditating with a very powerful meaning, which is the intention, the expectation, and the real feeling of a relationship with God. And lastly, the third reason why it is so important is it is cognitive therapy par excellence. I can vouch for that. You know, meditation will always shine a spotlight into our psyche. But when you've got a meditation that is focused on a relationship with God, the power of that spotlight being shone in your psyche really gets amped up. And for me, one benefit I got from it was as the spotlight shone into my psyche, something got revealed to me that I had no conscious knowledge of for about 40 years of my life. And what that spotlight highlighted was that as a young child, I'd been sexually abused by a close family member, and my conscious mind had no knowledge of it whatsoever until I started using the Course meditations to really allow these memories, or that spotlight brought these memories very gradually, very gently up to the surface. And then there was really a considerable amount of work and healing for me to undergo, not only just to come to terms with it, but also to deal with all of the emotions that it triggered in me, the feelings of being abused and hurt and damaged, and I was now damaged goods, and I hadn't thought I was that before. But also dealing with all of the limiting beliefs that really sort of shone in my mind once I realized this had happened to me. Essentially, my complete lack of worthiness and powerlessness. And so it was a very interesting process, which I write about in my book, Spiritual Intelligence and Leadership, kind of using the principles of course, the message of the course, the teachings of the course to help me to heal that and to enter from there into an even deeper relationship with God and a deeper trust in God. So how do we meditate Course in Miracles style? Well, essentially the Course gives us two instructions: relax and let go mentally. And there's a really beautiful image that comes with relax and let go mentally, which is come with open hands to your meditation practice, free of those things that you're grasping for in the world or carrying in the world, holding on to in the world or doing. Come with an open mind, free of your preconceived ideas, limited perceptions and self-concepts. And come with an open heart, ready to receive God and love. And if we've got time, Venetia, do we have time? Yeah, I'd just like to lead you just in a very short meditation now. That's not actually one of those three that I've just talked about, but really is a very special meditation. It is just brilliant at helping you with relationships. And it gives you a flavor of the true perception that the Course is asking that we hold of ourselves and each other. So I'd like to invite you to close your eyes if you're happy to do so. And just think perhaps of someone in your life, perhaps someone from today who's irritated you a little bit or annoyed you. Don't go for the big one, don't go for the number 10, but just someone who's brought up some irritation. And just recognize that within that person, as you look at them and see their body, the clothes they wear, style they do their hair, just recognize the good qualities in that person. You know, they might be very kind, actually, helpful, generous, giving, really respectful, honest, whatever it may be. And just sense those good qualities almost as a beautiful light within their heart. As if this light in their heart could represent those good qualities they have. And I'd like you just to focus on that light and notice that as you focus upon it, that light not only gets brighter, but it also gets bigger, starting to fill more and more of their heart area. And you keep your focus on that light and watch as it spreads out, filling more and more of their torso, their head, neck, shoulders. And you start to notice that you're seeing them more as light now and less as a body, a person. And imagine that light is still continuing to expand so that they almost look in your perception like a beautiful radiant sun that's got light shining out from them. Beautiful rays of light expanding outwards, almost traveling up to the ethers. as you keep that focus on them, just recognize how, as you look at this light in them, somehow it's lighting up exactly the same thing in you. That same radiance. That is, in truth, the radiance of yours and their true self. And as we draw this little meditation to a close, remember that the more you're able to focus on that in the other, whoever that other might be, the more you're enhancing it within yourself. Thank you. If you could just come back into the room now, please. Thank you. And although that was a very short and sweet version of that meditation, it really is an incredible thing to do if you want to heal relationships. And I've healed some really challenging relationships with exactly that meditation. So I'd just like to sum up really and say we talked about what is meditation in the course, and it is those 3 different techniques that really aim at experiencing God. The course holds it as so important that we meditate because we need to train our minds. We need to get our thinking under control so we are attending to the right things. And we do it in a way that is relaxed, that is letting go, and most important, we come to meditation empty. So just to conclude, all of this, everything in the course, is a practice. And it takes practice. But what I think is so amazing is that A Course in Miracles was channeled in the late 1960s, from 1965 to 1972. It's said to be the teachings of historical Jesus who lived over 2,000 years ago. And yet, he seemed to know all the modern day research about neuroplasticity and how to change our brain for the better. Because within the course are all the details of how to change your brain so you can change your mind for the better. And to me, that is incredible. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.